Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your co-host, Meg Ruler 31, and I've got McKinley 412 joining me here. Sorry this year, for the first year in a while, we won't have Gator Guy. He's kind of stepping back a little bit from DFS stuff, but wish him the best and all the cool things that he's got going on in his life. So, got the All Star Game coming up in Seattle, and we've been doing some look back at it. And the last couple of years, we've given you like one kind of strategy, and it hasn't worked. First year was in Coors, and last year we saw Manoah implode, and it was kind of like the downward spiral he has suffered since then. So, McKinley, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Excited for the All-Star break. I don't know, just nice relief. MLB season's such a grind. Like every day is just another 10-game slate for 6 straight months. It's insane. So it's nice to have a couple of days to just recharge.
Mondays and Thursdays have been big slates this season too, and we were joking that it seems like the season's like really flown by, and we were just joking it's the pitch clock, which I mean really has no bearing on the whole season, but it has made things more exciting. So looking back at the last 3 All-Star games, just kind of on average, it looks like each hitter is going to get about 2 at bats for the starters, and then the guys coming in are going to get probably 1 to 2. On average, it's about 33 at bats per game, per side. And for pitching wise, it looks like that mostly starting pitchers pitch into the 6th. There are a couple cases where they've only pitched into the 5th. And there was one case in 2021 in NL. For some reason, I think it was Corbin Burns went 2 innings in the 2nd and pitched into the 3rd, which is not usually what happens. So, it's just kind of hard to gauge. And in 2019, the AL must have been ahead, so the NL didn't bat or vice versa or whatever. So we have our coaches are the guy from Philly. I never remember his name, but and Dusty Baker. And Dusty Baker actually was the coach of AL last year. So maybe the same trend will be kind of the same. We got a lot of guys that were scratched for different reasons, for injuries, because they already pitched, because they wanted to spend time with their family, things like that. So we'll go over everything, but McKinley put together some really cool tips. So I will bring that up right now, and McKinley, take away.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to like zoom in there a little bit, so you can see a little bit better. But the first one is just like check Twitter. So you're gonna have like beat writers interviewing the players pretty much throughout the day. So like you'll have the Texas Rangers beat writers interviewing like Nathan Eovaldi. And oftentimes in years past, like the player, like Eovaldi, he'll come out and say, "I'm pitching the 4th inning" or whatnot, and you can kind of get like a roadmap of kind of where each of the pitchers are going to be. So like if there's certain pitchers that you really want to target, like kind of like you can almost like guess essentially, where in the order you think it's going to be and maybe target those batters. So definitely check Twitter on that. Mega, you just commented like pitchers, they're normally going to get 1 inning. That's pretty much it. Batters are going to get 2
cases where they've got 2, and again, we found that on Twitter before the game, so very valuable.
Yes. So absolutely, Twitter's gonna be your best friend with that kind of stuff. The thing with the All-Star game though, like there is a winning pitcher. They don't need to go with 5 innings like they usually do. So I think that benefits more of like those middle inning pitchers, like the 4th, 5th, 6th inning. It has occurred, I think when I was looking back, it was 2021 or something. The pitcher who started off the game was the winner because they scored in the 1st inning and they kind of held the lead the whole way. But yeah, so pay attention to that. I actually, like now I'm thinking about this. Do you know, does DK give them the win?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
It's the same for those of you who played spring training baseball. It's the same exact scenario for those early games where you just have a pitcher come out and pinch like 1 inning or so. So whoever is has the thing when they're lead, because nobody's going to be a pitcher on record because they don't go far enough, then that's who the winning pitcher is going to be.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So do that. And then, going off of like every batter gets 2 at bats, like in the starting lineup, those bottom of the order bats, like they're going to see lower ownership just because it's kind of like ingrained into a DFS mind. And even like the casual players, they're going to be, playing the guys that are higher up in the order. But the guys batting 7, 8, 9 are also going to be getting 2 at bats. So it's not like if they get on and it comes back around to like Acuna, who's batting off or leading off for the NL, Acuna is probably going to get pulled. You rarely see a batter get 3 at bats. It has happened. I'm not saying it's impossible. It has happened. But yeah, so you can certainly get some leverage going into the lower part of the order. Home runs are also a huge thing as well. Home runs, I looked, they accounted for 47% of the runs in the past handful of All Star games. It's just really tough to string together hits. I mean, we're talking about the best pitchers in baseball, one after another. Like, they're not pitchers that are going to be allowing 3, 4, 5 consecutive, singles and doubles here and there. So
unless it's Alex Manoah last year.
No, Manoah did great. It was McClanahan you're thinking of.
Really? I thought Manoah came out and really. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was because he was the starter. Okay.
Yeah. It was because I remember like I played McClanahan, and then the first inning I was like, well, my lines are done. Like, but yeah,
it was probably the last time we saw Manoah do good.
I was yes, absolutely. But yeah, so like All-Star games are typically lower scoring. AL is the slight favorite here, over under 7.5 for according to Vegas. But yeah, typically it's a lower scoring game, really tough to string runs. So like if you are targeting, the bats, I would definitely prefer to go towards more of like the, pop in their bats kind of guys. Obviously it's the All-Star game. Everybody's got pop in their bats. But just looking at like, home runs from previous years, like Zunino, catcher, like not a great hitter, but he can definitely, launch the ball. He had a home run 2 years ago. Vlad Jr., we all know what he's capable of doing. Stanton, Goldschmidt. Let's see, who's some other ones of I don't see any others actually. Oh, Joey Gallo. There you go. So like it's like you want to be targeting those, like, yeah, they might not be the best hitter, but like big boom and big pop in their bats. I'm looking at the NL lineup right now, like right there, like Luis Arias at 5K. Don't play him. Like, I am not going to be playing him whatsoever. Like, he's a great hitter. No home run upside. I think he has one home run on the season and 0 stolen bases. Like, it's just unreal. So like, don't be playing him, but yeah, definitely target guys who definitely have that, home run upside. Jonah Heim, batting 9th for the AL, can get 2 at bats. Maybe down the lineup he sees, he's not going to see Garrett Cole more often than not. Maybe he sees like Sonny Gray. Gray just got torched in his last start, so maybe he's not feeling it. Who knows? But yeah, so definitely target those power bats, in my opinion, if you're going in that direction.
So if you want to start looking at lineups then?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's pull up pitchers first. So I'll separate out here. So my model, I put in data from the last 5 All-Star games, and it tried to predict for me who would be pitching. So this is not necessarily anything that we definitely know. It's all speculation, but we do know that Cole is starting. And then Eovaldi, there was a lot of, what's that?
Can you just zoom in? It's just tough to see.
Sure.
You got the whole screen sheet there. There we go. A little better.
So Cole is definitely gonna start out. Eovaldi, there's a lot of discussion whether it be he or Cole. So that my guess would be he'd be like second or third. Castillo is the home guy. Yep. Sonny Gray, and the coaches tend to play the guys that were voted in over the replacements. So Pablo Lopez was a replacement for Gossman. Kirby was the replacement for, I think, McClanahan. And then Romano was a replacement for Valdez. And then Estevez, who's not even in the player pool, and neither is Romano, was a replacement for Clase, who's not going to be pitching. So I don't think there was a lot of controversy in Michael Lorenzen. They thought that there were other players on Detroit that should have been, like, everybody gets one player in the game. And there's a lot of discussion that he shouldn't have been it. So I don't know if he'll pitch. And Estevez, it's just been, he was pulled in like so late in the game. I don't know if he'll factor in. So I really think that all the starters will get a shot. My model doesn't like Kirby. My model and we'll get to that in a little bit, thinks Kirby gets in trouble, and Cano, who's pretty much like a long reliever for the Orioles, not like a closer, will probably come in like the 6th or 7th inning. But again, we don't know anything, but it looks like, just based on everything, that Jansen would probably be the preferred closer here. Again, this is not confirmed, but just going by speculation in my model. Any thoughts, McKinley, before I go to the end?
I mean, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, flipping to the NL. So the NL, Galen leads off. Burns, even though he was called up, like, he's done really well in an All-Star game, so I think that he would be out there second. The other thing that we didn't talk about with the AL pitchers are all right-handed. There's no left-handed pitchers in the bullpen, or unless somebody else gets added to the roster, they have no lefties. But Steele and Hader, I think, are definitely guys that might be a higher percentage to be played after the starter, because you do have the option there. And I think that he, since it is the Phillies guy, that he'd trust Kimbrel to be the closer, or Hatter. I think one of those two are at the back end of this. I know Diaz has been good for Cincinnati, but I think Kimbrel or Hatter are the closer.
Yeah.
And Cobb's kind of weak, so he's the one that I don't know if we'll go out there, and Duvall might go out there also. But Josiah Gray has not been good. He was the token Washington guy. I can't see how, he's just got lit up. I don't see him going out there. So, and Duvall might be he's another closer, so he might go out there also. So the model didn't like him, but I wouldn't count him out of anything. But I think we'll definitely see Galen, Burns, Keller, Steele just because he's a lefty, and Senga because he was handpicked by the manager as a replacement. Cobb's the one that I'm kind of up in the air on.
Yeah, not too thrilled with that. It just feels like pitching this season. I know, runs are up and everything, more stolen bases, pitch clock is certainly part of it. It just, injuries, everything. I don't know, pitching on both sides doesn't really scare me too much. I definitely think if I'm going to be betting this game, if there's an over under, it's 7.5, I think I would be hitting the over. It's just, I don't know, when you got Alex Cobb coming in, or even Justin Steele or Mitch Keller is or Corbin Burns, he is not having a great season whatsoever. Right. And he's the second best option in the NL. Now I know guys, they choose not to go. There's a whole bunch of people injured right now. But it just seems like aces this season are, or just
even Strider and Eller, it's just because Atlanta used them in the weekend series just because they're trying to win. So
yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't know. I like the bats. I like the bats.
Okay, speaking of bats, let's look at them here. So we'll start with the AL. Let me filter out the pitchers. Boom, boom. Okay, so we have the starters. Semien, Ohtani, Rosarena, Seager, Diaz, Garcia, Hayes, Young, Heim. I was kind of surprised Hayes did, because he was a replacement for Trout. But like you said, you have some lefties here. I think they're going to be very valuable because you only have potentially one lefty as a starter and one lefty as a closer. So I really kind of like them here. So in looking at the way this plays out, I'm assuming that Merrifield would come in to replace Semien at second base, is the only one that really that position. I think Jose Ramirez comes in as the DH for Ohtani, and I kind of watch Ohtani just with that blister on his finger and everything. I think they want him to go out there and do an at bat and play, but he's the one that might get pulled after one at bat. He did last year, but that's because he was pitching. But just have to kind of watch that. Then I just kind of filled in the positions by the talent. So Rosarena, I assume L. Rob would take over for him. Bichette would take over for Seager at shortstop. Vlad, I think, would take over at first base. I just watched the home run derby. He was really changing his swing up. So I don't know if I'd be on him too much for to hit the home run in the All Star game, because he was trying to go uppercut. He's more of a line drive guy, and he was really kind of screwing it up. It looked.
I'm all over him.
Yeah. I'm just a little, after watching the home run derby, I'm just kind of hesitant. So Tucker again is another lefty. I think that he'll definitely be someone that's going to stay in there, and it's his manager also. So I think he'll trust him towards the end. Julio Rodriguez, he's got to get in. It's his home crowd there in Seattle. Franco, Rushman, I think will take over Hyman's catcher over Perez. Perez might DH. And then Rooker, he's probably the least likely one to get in. I thought maybe if like everything wraps around, if they need somebody, up to like DH, or if they want to get him in, like you take over for like Merrifield or something like that later on. But I think Perez will hold as the emergency catcher, and I think they can throw him in as a DH or something like that. So that's kind of like my theory on like the American League bats. The one that sticks out to me the most is Corey Seager. He's been like white hot, and when we get to the model, it actually kind of has him as the MVP.
Sorry, I just had. I'm gonna follow up on the bats here. I just had like what was I thinking? Like I just talked about the AL bottom of the order going up against Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's a pitcher for the AL. I don't know what I was thinking. Right. You should have yelled at me. Come on.
I thought you said Cincinnati, but what the simulation will show them against the projected pitchers. So just anybody jump out here before we go to NL, then we'll jump to the simulation.
No, I think like just like looking through this again, like it makes, and it's just like where we expect the pitchers to be. Like I like the bottom of the order, like Hayes, Young, and Heim. Like Hayes has been a whole different player in Baltimore after the trade. Like he's doing amazing. And then Jonah Heim with the home run upside. Young's like one of the greatest, or not greatest, one of the best like young guys in baseball. And then we're expecting Mitch Keller for the NL, possibly in the third inning, like when they start rolling around there, like a guy who has very limited swinging strike rate, like he's certainly due for regression. I don't know. I think I like the bottom of the AL lineup here the more I kind of look at it. And then Vlad Jr., he's only 5K. And that just brings up another point. Like, don't try to fill up your salary. You got to get different. You got to go crazy different. If you leave 4, 5, 6,000 on the table, totally fine. Not a problem with that.
I did an all pitcher lineup and I had like 20K left. So
yeah,
you can do it. So okay, let's flip to NL quickly, and then we'll look at the stimulation. So not as many bats or maybe that's just because the filter's on. Okay, bring him back. Swanson is out. He's injured. He went on the IL. I didn't think that there was a replacement for him named yet.
I don't think so, because when I was going through, the NL had one less player. So
yeah. So obviously it looks like the Dodgers and the Braves made a trade, and they like kind of morphed teams together. So you have Acuna, Freeman, Betts, JD Martinez, Arenado, having a decent year for Ariza. It's hitting almost 400, but again, it's probably not a good one in this game. Murphy, Carroll's been hot, 92. I don't know if he's hot enough that I want to play with that price. Arcia has kind of shocked me. I mean, he's been quietly productive at the bottom of the Braves lineup, but you can tell who the manager is here, I think, with that one. But then again, they don't really have another shortstop because it's Perdomo. It was the guy that got called in, I think, to replace Swanson. He's on the player pool. And then but they have like Gurriel potentially playing at shortstop. So I'd like to see that. I don't think I've ever remembered Gurriel playing shortstop, but hey, it's an all-star game. Anything goes. In the NBA, you see point guards playing center. So you never know. So I think the way this will shake out is Soler would probably make the most sense to come in for Acuna, lefty and lefty at first base, Olsen there, Soto for Betts, Alonso to DH for Martinez. I think he'd go there. I think Olsen would get the call over Freeman there. Do you think Freeman left like this team, right? Do you think there's any he gets one at bat and gets pulled just as like revenge? But the coach wants to win. I'm just joking. Yeah. And then I think the ones left over would be like Diaz is like emergency catcher and might not get in, and then Perdomo. If they go around far enough, like he might take over for a shortstop or Gurriel. So I think, but
yeah, I
So
mean, when I'm looking at the NL bats here, like I just keep going back to the AL does not have like they have all right-handed pitchers.
mhm.
And then just kind of like thinking of like who are they going to probably be bringing in first or whatnot, and like
Let me bring up this simulation. I'll try to
yeah,
get this up here.
I'll talk as you guys can go through it. But like the NL reserves, like you got nice lefties like Matt Olson, Juan Soto, like those guys are probably going to be one of the first guys off of the bench there, like two very, power bats, home run hitters. Like I almost lean more towards going towards like the NL reserves than I do, playing a bunch of the NL lineup. I mean, Carroll's down at the bottom of the order there. So maybe the second time they go through this lineup, Carroll gets on base or whatever, Arcia does whatever, and then they're back to the top of the order. But now they're going to be putting guys in. That's when, Juan Soto might replace Acuna, and then Olson might replace Freeman. So I don't know. It all shakes well, in my opinion.
And McKinley has not seen this yet. This is the
I
simulation.
I have not. I don't even know what I'm looking at.
So basically, here's how the computer put out the pitchers against. Remember how I said there was 33 at bats on average? Yep. So for the NL, it has Cole pretty much clean, maybe giving up one extra batter. Evaldi coming in for all three. Luis Castillo struggling. He gives up 2 runs. So I think that's Acuna, and it looks like Freeman hit a home run there. Freeman has actually hit home runs in his last 3 games for the Dodgers. He is seeing the ball really well and hitting it. So then Sonny Gray comes in and actually goes it goes 1, 2, 3. So, but then Pablo Lopez comes in, and then Kirby's the one that really struggles here. It looks like potentially gives up to Olson and Soto, 2 lefties that could give him trouble. And then it looks like the rest of the game goes clean. On the AL side, it looks like Otani maybe hits a home run, Seager hits a home run, and then nothing. And the Garcia's actually been pretty hot too recently. So it has them put up 2 runs, and then everything kind of plays out. Mitch Keller has a lot of trouble there, it looks like, and everything else kind of plays out until Tucker walks off. Maybe Grayo gets on base and Tucker hits him in or something like that, but that's how the simulation played it out. Not saying that this is going to happen, but it kind of helps if you try to plug the pitchers in where you think they might fall versus the bats. And I think what the computer did was it looked at the handedness, and it look at what guys in green would have the split advantage most often with the pitchers that would come in.
And that's where, checking Twitter, seeing which pitcher is going to be going in the second inning, which pitcher is going in the third inning, in the fourth. And then you can, obviously it's not going to be perfect, but you can get a decent sense of where the lineup's probably going to be, come the third inning, come the fourth inning. So.
Yeah, again, it's like play light, just play for fun. I mean, this is really not a cash build, but if you're playing cash, then you're probably going to play Cole and Allen.
I don't think you can. You just go GPP. Like I just don't think you can even do cash in here.
But the safest thing with the floor is play the 2 starting pitchers and then fill in with pitchers that you feel are or not pitcher, but hitters that, like we said, that are in the starting order because they're going to play. I mean, there's a rare chance that they only get 1 at bat, but like you go with the known if you're trying to just play a little bit. But again, just watch your salary. So again, I think my favorite guys out there would be Freeman and Seager for bats. How about you, McKinley?
I already talked. Who did I say? Vlad Jr. I really like the bottom of that AL lineup. Hayes, Heim, Freeman. I like Freeman as well. JD Martinez is probably going to be extremely popular. It's only 6.4K batting cleanup for the NL there. I could see a lot of people going towards him. But yeah, I like getting a little bit different, with the NL reserves. So like I like the bottom of the order, like Corbin Carroll, but then in the reserves, Olson, Soto, I like those big bats kind of guys. Ozzie Albies, he's not a big home run guy, but he's a nice switch hitter. Maybe he'll bat up, have those platoon splits and everything. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Jonah Heim, he's going to be my home run call.
Okay. And like I said, I'm just weary of the guys in the home run derby. we've seen it so many times just mess up their swing, especially if you're playing DFS after the All-Star break. Just be cautious with playing them. Just watch. If they look like they're no effect, then that's perfectly fine. But we've seen, was it Josh Hamilton? Like he hit like 500 home runs in Yankee Stadium in that one home run derby, and then I don't think he hit another home run for like 2 months afterwards because he just changed his swing up to hit it out, and he just couldn't make contact on regular pitches again. So
Yep, we see it every year. Some years more extreme than others, but there typically is that little slight regression following.
okay, well, anything else, McKinley? Or I think we pretty much covered it. Again, it's a lot of speculation, but should be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to it, and we appreciate all the viewership and support that we've had throughout the course of the season. We do videos, at least we try to do 5 days a week. We usually end up doing 6. We take Sundays off just because it's busy for both of us. So and there's sometimes we'll do a double video. Sometimes like McKinley will cover one, I'll cover the other if there's an early slate and a late slate, and there's like a decent amount of games with both of them. So again, we appreciate everybody's viewership and support here. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, you can go to the description of the video, and you can sign up for our package, get our Discord. Like the pricing is really, really cheap, and we've had a very good season so far, and would love to see you in the Discord and to come check us out. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. You can hit us up at Twitter. I'm MegRuler31. He's McKinley412. And there's an underscore in it, right?
I think.
Check the description of the video, has our Twitter handle, so you can find us there. So, and if you find these videos help you, then please like the video, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends. We are over 4,300 subscribers. We're on a quest to get to 5,000. So we're well on our way, and we appreciate everybody's support that's joined us. So good luck to you in your contest. You know how to get a hold of us. Any last words, McKinley, before we sign off?
Go Jonah Heim.
Okay, very good. And one other plug, Johnny Cool does some very, very good work for PGA. So there's going to be a break here. There's not going to be any baseball till Friday. So if you want to play some, I think it's the British Open, or they're over in England and Liverpool for that one. So he does some great contests. His videos are really short, to the point, and very helpful. And we've had some people watch them and do very, very well in winning. So check that out, support him. We appreciate that too. So thank you once again. I'm MegRuler31. He's McKinley412. Good luck in your contest. You know how to get a hold of us, and we will see you Friday and Saturday back for when Major League Baseball resumes.